All right. Let's start off by saying that I'm a bad booktuber because the ranking video, that is got to be the bread and butter of all the actual successful, useful booktube channels on YouTube. Um, Actually, all the ranking things of just that transcends genre of on booktube. Ranking, that's where it's at. And I'm theoretically ranking the novels of Anthony Trollope, great Victorian novelist, inspired or copying from Katie at Books and Things, who did her ranking. I think she has read like 26 of Anthony Trollope's novels. I have 17 Anthony Trollope novels that I have read. Whether I can discuss them particularly is another thing. It's like, wow, I've crammed in quite a few in the last couple of years here. Really enjoying myself. But I came to make my list here, and there's no numbers here beside them. So I'm just, and it kind of I have to say it kind of defeated me. The idea of saying which ones I love more than other ones, because I love a lot of Anthony Trollope altogether. But Katie did inspire me because of the novel that she put at the very bottom of the list. It was like, hey, but I'm a big boy, and the great thing about BookTube is we all love books, and we can all appreciate that we all have different points of view on books. So I have a little bit of a different point of view, at least for the very bottom of her list. From there, it just probably becomes a hopeless sludge. So yeah, as I said, I have 17 Anthony Trollope novels that I have read, of which there's actually probably 15 I have anything meaningful to say. And I think I'll start off with the two that I will be the first one to say I'm wrong, and I know I'm wrong because that was a past self. And that is the first couple of novels of the Barchestershire Chronicles. I would actually, at this point in my journey, I would put at the very bottom of the list. That's The Warden, Barchester Towers. Actually, I think I may have even read Dr. Thorne. And I have to say, these are all novels that I read a while ago, like 10 years ago or something. And I think especially The Warden, um, I found The Warden and Dr. Thorne, I found very dry and wasn't that interested. It's all kind of centering around kind of the parish life of these of this little fictional county, and I just did not get in them at the time. This was the place where I completely bounced off of Anthony Trollope to begin with, though I seem to have bounced off with a good number of books. I think it's one of these things that's like I knew about them, and like there's all the kind of maybe masterpiece theater stuff of them. It's like, oh, this is something I could get into. I probably heard about it from somewhere. This is pre-booktube, but no. They're just ones that did not do it for me. Did not do it for me at the time, and I put them down. And yeah. I think I even got rid of Dr. Thorne somewhere along the lane way. Um, I'll circle back to the Barchestershire series in a moment. Because what happened was I got onto BookTube, and I fell under the spell of another a great booster of Anthony Trollope, Steve Donahue. And he did a good number of read-alongs of the books, and I followed his read-alongs. And once he stopped doing the read-alongs, he's actually kind of taken it up. He circled back to he has actually circled back to is it The Way We Live Now, I think is what he circled back to, and he's doing a reread of that at the moment. And while I really love that novel, I didn't feel like at that point going back to it. I had my own plans, Steve, and a very limited amount of resources of how quick I can read stuff that I just I let that sail by this time. So yeah, it's like I have to say I got back to Anthony Trollope, and I was completely bitten I fell in love with Anthony Trollope's voice, with his characterization, with his interconnected plots. He does, I think, as Katie mentioned, he has like the thick the big books, the thick books. They have like they have multiple storylines that kind of all interweave, somewhat kind of comment on each other. And then he has some kind of more, as she said, focused books where there are kind of just kind of like straight through lines on that stuff. And so, and it's like I really enjoy both. Actually, of those, in addition to those 17 novels, I have read one short story collection and his autobiography. His and autobiography I would actually rate quite high of his works, and of autobiographies in general. It's a short little thing, and I really enjoyed it. I'm reading a biography of him right now, Trllp by Victoria Glendinning, which she quotes extensively from an autobiography, which I had just finished, and so it's actually kind of a joy to get her kind of doing the research and then reading, and kind of having, it's like having a detailed reading of an autobiography, which I so enjoyed an autobiography. I'm not like bummed that I'm getting repeats in his biography. The short story collection, if I was allowed to list that, I would actually put that at probably the bottom of the stuff that I've of his works. I found that very kind of hit and miss. Didn't really do it for me in the way that his novels do. It's funny. The Palliser series comes up quite high in my thing, which is probably why there's some works like the Claverings, which are good, but to me they repeat the Eustace Diamonds, even though the Claverings is 67, and I didn't write down the date of the Eustace Diamonds, but in the order of which I read, they have slightly similar plots, in that people marry for the wrong reasons and regret it, and who do they go for otherwise. It's funny, me going back and looking at a lot of the Anthony Trollope books. I find no matter how good maybe like one plot is, there'll be one plot that, wow, that one really sticks out for me. I mean, yeah, it's, see, this is why I'm a bad booktuber. It was like me trying to figure out what goes where. There's a whole bunch of ones which are sort of, there's a will and who's going to inherit. There's Orley Farm. There is the not Miss Mackenzie. There is Orley Farm, Lady Anna, in their Cousin Henry, all ones which they group around, kind of like, oh, what's who's going to inherit what. Of those, probably I really loved Lady Anna, where her scumbag father kind of disowns her and says, oh, I'm a bigamist, therefore you're not a part of my thing. I really loved how a lady level in that book, the woman who is screwed over by her dissipated husband, and is the one who sort of becomes this kind of all-consumed, slightly monstrous lady, but also still deeply human. I think I really loved her. Yeah. So Miss Mackenzie is probably lower on the list, of the thing of like, of this spinster who suddenly comes into a whole bunch of money, and is pursued by various suitors, who a kind of a kind of a skeezy curate, and a business dude, and an honest man who has a large family, making the decision there. That's definitely a bit more of a focused work. In the realm of the focus works, Lady Anna being focused, Cousin Henry is one where it's very much kind of almost, it's almost got kind of like a psychological thriller aspect to it, where Cousin Henry, the title character, has concealed information again about a will, and it's like, oh, he's racked by these all these internal doubts and guilts, and also just definitely greed and stuff like that. It's great characterization of him. There's definitely a lot of the darker characters are the people that you end up kind of, I find myself kind of attaching to in these works. Um, Not so much Augustus Melmont in The Way We Live Now, but in The American Senator, there's a woman, Arabella Trefoil, who she and her mother are basically husband hunting for her, and she's kind of shown as being kind of rapacious, kind of very ruthless in her stuff. But Trollope is always good at saying, yeah, but they have nothing. This is it. This is the only way they are going to survive. So while kind of showing, not endorsing them, and probably saying that they're not nice people, but also kind of laying all that groundwork to, like, how wonderful, how kind of wonderfully how wonderful they are at the same time. um yeah, you know there's the Claverings, which is the one I was saying, where a woman jilts her fiance, and marries a rich man, and it's like, it's a dissipated lord again, yet again, sort of like Lady Anna, where it's a dissipated kind of ruined lord, which is like, and you think, oh, that could be a whole novel in itself, but it's like, no, it's like, okay, it's after that. And how is she able to redeem herself, and what will a Victorian novel allow in the way of reward for that, or what's proper penance in the thing of, like, kind of Victorian novel. uh Reading an autobiography, Anthony Trollope is unapologetically, and I mean, quite in line with the times, is saying, like, no, these novels are here for a certain amount of moral teaching. I'm not here to, like, preach at you, but I'm here to show you situations and allow you to learn those lessons for yourself. But they definitely are moral novels. um yeah, yeah. Mr. Scarborough's Family, yet another kind of wonderful monster, where John Scarborough, the head of the thing, he hates kind of the inheritance laws. He's not that enamored with his eldest son, who's got huge debts and stuff like that, and kind of contrives through various kind of really nefarious means to kind of screw over a bunch of people. And then when his second youngest son starts getting uppity, screw him over yet again. It's just, it's terrible, which probably leads you to, like, one of the great, his when if we were going to talk one of his great novels, it would be that very first one, The Way We Live Now, where Augustus Melmont, this super rich financier, comes to town, and just how everybody completely bends over backwards, completely loses their morals. It's like the best 1980s novel written in the 1875, which seems to be kind of inspired by Trollope coming back to England after travels, and just seeing how the financial shenanigans have people have completely thrown away their morals, and this is his kind of excoriating kind of view of that, and of the characters, the character of all the characters in that. There's there's also the kind of the themes of kind of male jealousy in a lot of these books, which I would really kind of pair He Knew He Was Right and Can You Forgive Her. He knew he was right, is 69, I think, and Can You Forgive Her is 1864. And they both have I think they both have the super jealous husbands in them. But also, Can You Forgive Her has the thing of a actual husband who is a lot more willing to accept his wife as a complex person who perhaps doesn't love him, perhaps at this point, is willing to um, engage in a kind of a more complex relationship with her, which really, really well develops. And indeed, Can You Forgive Her is the start of the Palliser novels, which I have read all of, and is a series that I absolutely love. Um, of the Palliser novels, I would probably put the Eustace Diamonds, the ones where I'm not as fond of, even though Lady Eustace, Elizabeth Eustace, I think it is. She is yet another one of these kind of complicated, kind of semi conniving women that Trollope puts at the center of his novels, who's got her reasons, but is also it's almost like she's a femme fatale in a way, in this thing. So I probably would put that book at the kind of the bottom of the Palliser novels. Doesn't have too much to do with parliamentary politics, which apparently I'm a complete wonk for, because um, starting with Phineas Finn and Phineas Redux, we really get into kind of the politics of the era, and even one of the responsibilities for Phineas Finn in Parliament is taking care of some of these issues with this little nothing little colony over in North America, Canada, and possibly forging the rail, making sure that the railway goes across. That's got more complicated with more of my history reading in the colonialism of Canada. But and it's funny because of the Phineas Finn books, Phineas Redux, in Phineas Finn, I was really frustrated with the character of Phineas Finn. I think the novel's good, but he is such an entitled little he's Irish, so he's got that kind of knock against him. But basically, he's a beautiful young man who comes into this kind of into London, into politics, and gets everything fucking handed to him. All these women who are so much better than him help him, hand him everything, and there's basically at the end of Phineas Finn, he gets kind of a happy ending, which was just like, screw you, which comes to the novel that is at the bottom of Katie's list and is probably the reason why I'm yakking at you right now, which is Phineas Redux, which, yes, I would agree with with Katie that the opening of this novel is a big it's a big betrayal of the end of the last of the last novel, and is a real crime against a poor character. MF is just like, oh god, MFJ, I guess it's like, oh god, it's just like, I just it that really does suck, but um Trollope then proceeds to put this super entitled, super charmed character through the ringer in Phineas Redux, really kind of make him work, make him suffer. And I really enjoyed that. And I found it totally redeemed the character for me. It was just one of these things of like, you can have the same character, but the novelist decides to kind of adjust things, turn it a different way, and suddenly, like, wow, I was really engaged, and by the end I really liked Phineas Finn by the end of that novel. And Katie had just having to speak in generalities because we don't want to spoil these novels for people who haven't read all the Trollope novels yet, but she felt that it kind of meandered, that he made all the kind of the choices that he made she disagreed with, kind of narratively she disagreed with, starting with the beginning, which I'll give her. But I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed Phineas Redux in a way, probably because of how I reacted to Phineas Finn in his first appearance novel, and we get Madame Max Goesler coming through. She gets a new name, but I won't reveal that. But that was wonderful. Now the big heart of the Palliser novels is the relationship that you get at the start of one of those relationships of Can You Forgive Her has three relationships? Alice Vavasor, Lady Glencora, and Arabella Greeno. Arabella Greeno is a kind of it's a funny one. It's very much got that thing of it's a rich woman who's got suitors and she's putting them through the paces again, and the men that want the money and so have to kind of bend to this woman's will, and it's a good kind of role reversal in a society where women didn't generally have a lot of the kind of the overt power, at least. But yeah, we get Lady Glencora introduced in Can You Forgive Her, and she and this other fellow, I don't know whose name in the parliamentary novels that might be, their relationship kind of carries through. Can you forgive her? The prime minister, and really heartbreakingly, the duke's children. It follows through those three books and is just so wonderful. Where the main male character is a very grim, dour, unexpressive kind of guy, and he actually makes an incredibly great foil for Lady Glencora, who is very effusive, very kind of can be very rash, but is also she's got her own smarts, and it's just like their relationship throughout those books is just so good. Is just so wonderful. If I can give if I was going to give a kind of a general thing of like the novels that I love the most, it's these Palliser novels. That's the ones, and it's indeed those ones that really kind of resonate the best for me. That way, that said, I might actually at this point in my very young career of reading the Anthony Trollope's novels, might give it to The Way We Live Now. I don't know. He knew he was right. There's that thing of just that there's just kind of a mental illness of the husband, and he knew he was right, which is sort of so pathetic, with a equally kind of stubborn and in her own way kind of flawed wife, versus sort of the kind of the competing storylines of a woman who marries maybe for perhaps better reasons than her sister, who ends up in this deeply dysfunctional marriage. So yeah, that's why I'm a bad booktuber. I don't know if I have any hard and fast rules in that, other than An Editor's Tale, the short stories. I was not the place to start. There's definitely a lot of those shorter novels. Lady Anna, probably is a really I would probably find is one of those good places to start an Anthony Trollope novel. It's fairly short. I would actually warn you away from the Barchestershire Chronicles to begin with, at least, just because my reaction to them a while ago, maybe I just wasn't in the right frame of mind. They kind of made me bounce off. I found them kind of dry in comparison. I don't know if it's something about it was all about kind of priestly, kind of parish life, church politics, which did not interest me. Whereas when we got into kind of the parliamentary politics, that was totally my thing. I think I remember when Steve was doing a read along with Phineas Finn and Phineas Redux. He's like, "Oh, how is all this parliamentary stuff going? Is it boring you?" And I'm like, "No, more parliamentary stuff." Which is, I apparently am a wonk for that kind of stuff, so I might not be the best judge there either. Now, the really delightful thing of watching Katie's video is how many of the Barchestershire Chronicles novels she actually puts, very, very high on her list. You should go over, just watch her video for that. So, for myself going forward, because there's more Trollope to read, and there seems to be there's such high quality, such a consistent writer. If you like his work, you have, I think it's 47 novels to read of his work, which is amazing. I have some of Trollope's. I have some of Trollope. These are all the Barchester novels that I have not bothered picking up again. and you know, I've got these, but I actually have bought, I think it's the Delphi collection on Kindle, which was like, it was like $3 or $4, and I bought the complete collected works of Anthony Trollope, and I've been slowly going through them. And yeah, there's the odd typo, but I haven't found that they're not butchered like, you know, sometimes very fly by night people will do with stuff that's out of copyright. We'll just slap it together without any editing, copy editing to make sure at least the text is sort of right. I found that one actually is good, and I don't have to, you know, have humongoid in my hands at all time, or I can just read it wherever I want, which is great. So I've got so much more Trollope to read. I think, yeah, other than the Barchestershire Chronicles, which I probably will get to at some point. I think, you know, in the future, Dr. Whirl's School and Belton Estate came up in Katie's video as ones that would be definitely worth checking out. And the one that kind of makes my heart sing is that An Old Man's Love, which I think is Trollope's final novel, final completed novel, was published, I think, posthumously. It's she rates that highly. So An Old Man's Love is probably, you know, maybe I'm going to get through everything, and I'll save that one for the end, because I'll probably work my way through the Barchestershire series at some you know, at some point. I'll have to see where I'm feeling like I really want to run. I am at the moment, yeah, as I said, I just finished an autobiography by Anthony Trollope, and I'm reading his biography of him by Victoria Glendinning. And I am because I'm slightly insane, and I've been reading so much about his mother. I picked up her The Life and Adventures of Michael Armstrong, Factory Boy, an 1840 novel by Frances Milton Trollope, Anthony's mother, and I'm reading that, and actually enjoying that. It's definitely, there's a reason why he is the great Victorian novelist, and she is maybe more of a Victorian novelist, but it's very effective. It's very effective. A good industrial novel, one of the first novels commenting on the horrible conditions of the Industrial Revolution, the effects that was having on England, and especially the child laborers at the time, children as young as 5 years old, sent to factories to be worked to death for profit and build the English Empire. Yeah. So that is my incomplete, not numbered. I probably left out me talking about. I mostly talked about everything. No numbers. It's all a jumble. I'm a bad booktuber. Meh. Sue me. I won't put ranked. I'll just say talking about Anthony Trollope's novels in the title or something. I'm not going to do that clickbait crap. All right. I will leave it there. More videos later.